Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki, born in 15th November 1931, died in 21 April 2022, better known as Mwai Kibaki, was a Kenyan politician who served as the third president of Kenya from December 2002 until April 2013. He had previously served as the fourth vice president of Kenya for 10 years from 1978 to 1988 under President Daniel Arap Moi. He also held cabinet ministerial positions in the Kenyatta and Moi's government, including time as Minister for Finance 1969 to 1981 under Kenyatta and Minister for Home Affairs in 1982 to 1988 and Minister for Health 1988 to 1991 under Moi. Kibaki served as an opposition member of parliament from 1992 to 2002. He unsuccessfully vied for the presidency in 1992 and 1997. He served as the leader of the official opposition in parliament from 1998 to 2002. In the 2002 presidential election, he was elected as president of Kenya. Early life. Kibaki was born in 1931 in Dhunguri village and he died in the year 2022 April, Othaya division of Kenya's then Nyeri district, now Nyeri County. He is the youngest son of Kikuyu peasant Kibaki Githinji and Teresia Wanjiko, though baptized as Emilio Stanley by Italian missionaries in his youth. He has been known as Mwai Kibaki throughout his public life. Family oral history maintains that his early education was made possible by his much older brother-in-law, Paul Morethi, who insisted that young Mwai Kibaki should go to school instead of spending his days grazing his father's sheep and cattle and babysitting his little nephews and nieces for his older sister. Kibaki turned out to be an exemplary student. He attended Gatuyaine school for the first 2 years, where he completed what was then called Sub A and Sub B, the equivalent of Standard 1 and 2 or first and second grade. He later joined Karima Mission School for 3 more classes of primary school. He later moved to Mathari School, now Nyeri High School, between 1944 and 1946 for Standard 4 to 6, where in addition to his academic studies, he learned carpentry and masonry. As a student, will repair furniture and provide materials for maintaining the school's buildings. He also grew his own food, as all students in the school were expected to do, and earned extra money during the school holidays by working as a conductor on buses operated by the defunct Othaya African Bus Union. After Karima Primary and Nyeri Boarding Primary Schools, he proceeded to Mangu High School, where he studied between 1947 and 1950. He passed with a maximum of 6 points in his O-level examination by passing 6 subjects with grade 1 distinction. Influenced by veterans of the First and Second World Wars, in native village, Kibaki considered becoming a soldier in his final year Mangu. However, a ruling by a chief colonial secretary, Walter Kurtz, which barred the recruitment of the Kikuyu, Embu and Meru communities into the army, put paid to military aspirations. Kibaki instead attended Makerere University in Kampala, Uganda, where he studied economics, history and political science, and graduated best in class in 1955 with a first-class honors degree BA in economics. After his graduation, Kibaki took up an appointment as assistant sales manager Shell Company of East Africa, Uganda Division. During the same year, he earned a scholarship entitling him to postgraduate studies in any British university. He consequently enrolled at the prestigious London School of Economics for a BSc in Public Finance, graduating with a distinction. He went back to Makerere in 1958, where he taught as an assistant lecturer in the economics department until 1961. In 1961, Kibaki married Lucy Kibaki, the daughter of a church minister who was then a secondary school head teacher. Political career. In early 1960, Mwai Kibaki left academia for active politics by giving up his job at Makerere and returning to Kenya to become an executive officer of Kenya African National Union, KANU, at the request of Thomas Joseph Mboya, who was the Secretary General of KANU. Kibaki then helped to draft Kenya's independent constitution. In 1963, Kibaki was elected as Member of Parliament for Donholm constituency, subsequently called Bahati and now known as Makadara in Nairobi. His election was the start of a long political career. In 1963, Kibaki was appointed the Permanent Secretary for the Treasury, appointed Assistant Minister for Finance and Chairman of Economics Planning Commission in 1963. He was promoted to Minister of Commerce and Industry in 1966. In 1969, he became Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, where he served until 1982. In 1974, Kibaki, facing serious competition for his Donholm constituency seat from a Miss Jael Mbogo, whom he had only narrowly and controversially beaten for the seat in 1969 elections, moved his political base from Nairobi to his rural home, Othaya, where he was subsequently elected as a Member of Parliament. The same year, Time magazine related him among the top 100 people in the world who had the potential to lead. He has been re-elected as a Member of Parliament for Othaya in subsequent elections of 1979, 1983, 1988, 1992, 1997, 2000 and 2007. When Daniel Arap Moi succeeded Jomo Kenyatta as a president of Kenya in 1978, Kibaki was elevated to vice presidency and kept the finance portfolio until Moi changed his ministerial portfolio from finance to home affairs in 1982. When Kibaki was the Minister of Finance, Kenya enjoyed a period of relative prosperity, fueled by a commodities boom, especially coffee, with remarkable fiscal discipline and sound monetary policies. Kibaki fell out of favor with President Moi in March 1988 and was dropped as vice president and moved to the Ministry of Health. He seemingly took the demotion in his stride without much ado. Kibaki's political style during these years was described as gentlemanly and non-confrontational, and this style exposed him to criticism that he was a spineless or even a crowdly politician who never took a stand. According to one joke, he never saw a fence he didn't sit on. He also, as the political circumstances of the time dictated, projected himself as a loyal stalwart of the ruling single-party KANU. In the months before multi-party politics were introduced in 1992, He infamously declared that agitating for multi-party democracy and trying to dislodge KANU from power was like trying to cut down a fig tree with a razor blade. It was therefore with great surprise that the country received a news of Kibaki resignation from the government and revealing KANU as Christmas Day in the December 1991, only days after the repeal of Section A of the Constitution, with restored the multi-party system of the government. Soon his resignation, Kibaki founded the Democratic Party, DP, and entered the presidential race in the upcoming multi-party in election of 1992. He was criticized as a Johnny Come Lately opportunist who, unlike his two main opposition presidential elections opponents in that year, Kenneth Matiba and Jaramogi Odinga, was taking advantage of multi-party despite not having fought for it. Kibaki became the third in the subsequent presidential election of 1992 when he divided opposition, lost for President Moi and KANU despite having received more than 2/3 of the vote. He then came the second to Moi in 1997 elections when again Moi beat and divided opposition to retain the presidency. In January 1998, Kibaki became the leader of the official opposition, with the Democratic Party being the official opposition party in parliament. In 2002 elections, in preparation of the 2000 election, Kibaki Democratic Party affiliated with several other opposition parties from National Alliance Rainbow Coalition, NAC, a group of disappointed KANU presidential aspirants then quit KANU in protest after being overlooked by outgoing President Moi when Moi had founding father Jomo Kenyatta's son Uhuru Kenyatta. Now Kibaki, successor of the fourth president after 2013 general election, nominated to be the KANU presidential candidate and hurriedly formed the Liberal Democratic Party, LDP. NAK later combined with the LDP and formed the National Rainbow Coalition, NAC. On 14th October 2002, at large opposition rally in Uhuru Park, Kibaki was nominated the NAC Opposition Alliance presidential candidate after Raila Odinga made the famous declaration, Kibaki Tosha. On that December 2002, Kibaki was injured in a road accident and on his way back to Nairobi from a campaign meeting at Machakos Junction, 40 kilometers, 25 miles from Nairobi. He was subsequently hospitalized in Nairobi, then London, after sustaining fracture injuries in the accident. He still walks rather awkwardly and results of those injuries. The rest, his presidential campaign was thus conducted by his NAC colleagues in his absence, led by Raila and Kijana Wamalwa, whom went to become the vice president, who campaigned tirelessly for Kibaki after stating, "The captain has been injured in the field, but the rest of the team shall continue." On 27th October 2013, Kibaki and NAC won a landslide victory over KANU, in Kibaki getting 62% of the votes in the presidency elections, against only 31% for KANU, the candidate Uhuru Kenyatta. In 2002 swearing in or ruling. On December 2002, still nursing injuries from the motor vehicle accident and in a wheelchair, Mwai Kibaki was sworn in as the third president and a commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of Republic of Kenya. Leadership style. President Mwai Kibaki's style was that of low-key publicity over a highly intelligent and competent technocrat. His death. In 2022, 22nd April, which is today, President Uhuru Kenyatta announced the death of President Mwai Kibaki. His death was announced by the President of Kenya this Friday, and Kibaki is survived by 4 children: Judy Wanjiko, Jimmy Kibaki, David Kagi, and Tony Gedhinji. This is what President Kenyatta said, and I quote, "It is with my sorrowful duty to announce to the nation the passing of His Excellency Emilio Mwai Kibaki. He served as the 3rd President of the Republic of Kenya from 2002 to 2013. That is what President Kenyatta declared a period of mourning, including the flying flags half mast until a state funeral is held for Kibaki." And I quote, "We remember the value by which he lived, the ideals he embraced in his dignity and diligence, his conduct and concern for the well-being of all Kenyans," Uhuru said. That is the small biography about the former president of Kenya, the late President Mwai Kibaki, whose death was announced today, being on 22nd April 2022.